Welcome back to Idiots Incorporated with Isaac Helton and Theo Oggy. I'm Isaac Helton, your host, and this is...
Theo Oggy, your guest star.
Yeah! Theo, how have you been?
I've been pretty darn dandy.
What does that mean, Theo? What does that mean?
I didn't know how to follow darn, so I was like, I wouldn't say that I'm pretty darn good. I wouldn't say I'm pretty darn bad.
Darn dandy is a flow too. No
darn dandy, yeah. So, I'm just kind of floating in the middle. I've got a lot of things that are going well, a lot of things that are going not
really
amazing. Yes.
Huh.
That's okay.
Well, I've been wanting to have you on for like a super long time because you had the most successful podcast in the entire school.
And I quit after 4 episodes.
As of last year, which was skyrocketing in listens.
I think I had maybe 100 to 150 per episode.
That is slick.
Yeah, and I think the largest one had like 200 or 250, which like I know for a fact a lot of people had multiple listens because there were people that would tell me like they would like listen to it while just like doing homework. Huh. And they'd do that for like a week straight.
Do you feel like that's weird? Like people listening to your voice?
Not at all. I think it's kind of cool because I think a lot of people have told me I have a very relaxing voice.
Soothing?
Yeah.
And do like, ASMR.
I've thought about it.
You've considered doing ASMR?
My sisters do.
Really?
On YouTube. I don't know if it's still around. It's terrible. My sisters are like sitting there and they're like over the mic like, and I'm like, what? You guys are so weird. I was like, of all the things you could be doing in your room.
I feel like of all the things you could be doing in your room, that's not a bad thing to be doing.
You're right. No, but I think like for me, so I'm a guy who doesn't. I don't want to say I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but generally I go towards music.
I enjoy podcasts just for the sake of like they're intimate.
Okay,
because you get to know someone so much better than like say you were just watching like whatever content else they produce. Because people online who I listen to podcasts, I feel like I know them a little bit more personally than if I were just to watch their content normally.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like let's see. Like the Joe Rogan podcast. Like if I were to meet Joe Rogan now, I'd know a lot of things about him, and I'd automatically have like a synopsis of what the man's like based on the hours of listening people have on him.
I think for me, it's hard for me to listen to podcasts and do something else, right? So like if I'm doing homework or I'm like working, because like a lot of times at my job, my boss will put on podcasts, and it's like I'll like get too invested into what it's like, what they're talking about. Like one of my buddies, he is the exact opposite. He can't listen to music without getting too invested. So like I could fall asleep to music and I can work to music and he can work and fall asleep to podcasts. But for me, like to listen to a podcast, I have to like when I listen to yours, I like sat down in my room and I like sat there like for an hour just like staring at a wall.
I have barely 1 hour of content. I'm listening to the entire hour. I think
so. Yeah. I just listened in one run. I think so. Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, so like when people are like, oh yeah, I just like listen to it while doing homework or just while like falling asleep, I'm like I feel honored that I get to be that portion of their relaxing time.
That's really cool. I am the exact opposite. My mother is a flute teacher, and all I listen to 24 hours a day constantly is really, really loud, harsh flute music.
Oh.
And Theo,
are they good?
No.
Oh. That's your doorbell.
We'll edit this part out later.
Will that pick it up?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Well, just leave it in right now. We'll go for a break. I'm sorry to say that now.
Just leave it in.
Yeah. Oh, leave it in.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
It's a little evening banter.
No, my mother is a flute teacher.
Okay.
So constantly, 24/7, all the time, I'm listening to loud flute music, and I hate to break it to a lot of the flute people who play at Roosevelt and also who live in Johnstown or places. They're not really good.
Oh.
It's really loud. It's really harsh, actually.
Oh. So when you say like 24/7, you mean?
I mean 24. From the time I get home until 8 o'clock at night, Theo, I'm listening to flute music.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. And it's never.
How do you?
There's like 5 songs that high school kids know how to play. There's like Pan. There's some Chopin pieces, and there's etudes, and I know all of them by heart. I can hum along. But I cooked dinner yesterday, and I didn't have any headphones in because I'm an idiot.
Right.
And so I listened to whatever flute music was happening. And it was the same etude over and over and over again. I was able to hum exactly what was happening. I could give you a flute lesson right now.
Well, I no, thank you.
You don't want to listen to flute constantly? What?
So. I've never really thought about that. So I have a teacher for viola, and she is the high school orchestra director or teacher or whatever, the Miss Left of Indianola.
Right.
So, and her husband is the Miss Left of Goodwill.
Okay.
And they don't have any kids, and they live probably, I don't know if I should give that away. Well, they live far.
They live far.
Anyways, they live in a sizable house, and they just recently moved there, but they don't have any kids. And they're fairly young, and I never really thought about, like, if they had kids, they'd have to listen to me play for a half an hour every Monday night. But then also, like, so she teaches viola and her husband teaches cello. So it's like both of them
I see.
all the time, every day. So yeah, that would...
Music is very pretty heavily ingrained in my family just because it goes back for generations, just in general.
Of course.
And I feel like I know people who like have that family career in generations, like people who do like stocks trading. I know families that just do, that's what they do, where they do lawyership. And
Sure.
They get really angry when someone like craps on the idea of being a lawyer. And I'm not that way, man. I feel like if you were opposed to being a musician or like, music's dumb, I hate classical music, I'd be like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. I am a dark horse of my family.
Really?
Yeah. I think my intermediate family kind of is in a way. So my dad's side is a big railroad family. Now my dad does radio.
Right.
But aside from that, his brother does railroad. I don't know what those brothers do. No. Another one is like a regional manager of Hy-Vee. So he moves around all the time, like every 2 years. And then the other one is, I think he like does something in a warehouse. I think he's like a manager of a warehouse or something. And then I work in trucking, I guess. But I work in the IT side of trucking. So my uncle does the warehouse side of the trucking.
Oh, I see.
So in that sense, I'm not necessarily a dark horse, but also I am the only one to be influenced with technology.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or be the influencer of technology, right? So, for instance, like my grandfather worked in rail, and then one of my uncles worked in rail. So they both used a popular technology. My dad works in radio, uses a popular technology.
Okay.
I'm a developer, right? It's
right.
Yeah. So
okay. Speaking of trucking, I know this is a little off topic.
Go ahead. Sure.
Automated cars are predicted to take over the market, but in the next 15 years.
Thank God.
That's your reaction to it. You're not worried about the truckers?
I hope my kids never learn how to drive a car.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
So will I teach them how to drive a car? Probably. But I hope they don't learn. I hope they grow up in a world where a driver's license is not necessarily a government thing. Because I want you to think about something, right? So imagine if your draft card or your social security card held the same weight of your driver's license. So arguably, they're both very important.
Yeah. And
the social security card holds a giant piece of your life, right? But you can't do anything. Well, I guess you can't really do anything without a social security card. But with your driver's license, I mean, that's...
If you don't have a car, it's bumpkus. It's worth nothing.
Right. It's worth nothing to you, right? But why would they make that your standard ID? You can't vote without a driver's license.
Really?
You have to. It is a new law in Iowa. You have to provide identification
in the form of a driver's license.
Well, I guess you can use a passport. Oh, gosh darn it! But you can't get a passport without a driver's license.
Oh, you're right. I think
you can. You might. I know that. I think you can provide a birth certificate, but even then, it's wildly easier.
The
to have
easiest
a
form is
license.
definitely driver's license.
Yes. So let me think about this, right? So you're talking. I mean, driver's license, right? Wasn't even like my great grandfather fought in World War II, but he turned 16, 41, maybe 42. So he was really young when he fought. Anyways,
yeah, probably legally young.
Yes. So for him, when he got his driver's license, there was no driver's ed, there was no permit test.
They just said, "Here's this, don't crash."
Oh no! They it was like you like went to the DOV or whatever it was called, and then you drove around with a cop.
Oh,
and you just drove a cop car. Yep. And then they were like, they basically told him that, he could use some more hours behind the wheel. But anyways, here you go. And he just gave it to him. No written portion, as far as I know. That was it. So that was very easy. And now we have to go through a $300 driver's ed class. We have to go through, I think you're required to get like 60 hours on top of that of driving with your parents. If you want a school permit, good luck. If you want a work permit, like good luck,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, when you're 18, all that's out the window. You can just get it, right? As long as you take a driving test. But, when you think about it, having a driver's license, I think, has been so ingrained in us that it is now influencing us to purchase vehicles.
You know how we make old people we make old people. We make fun of old people for having, the dial phones and like the home phones.
Mhm.
That'll be us, but with like actually driving, I feel.
Yeah.
Because it's so much safe. I was arguing with my friend the other day.
Yeah.
About how insurance companies are going to have to change really drastically because your car gets in a crash. It's not because of your fault. It's because of the glitch in the system or whatever, or because some idiot T-boned you.
But even then, would that be a fault? If you get in a autonomous car crash, is that on the fault of
well, that's the thing. That's the thing that they were talking about. Is that on the insurance, or is that on the company, or is that on the user fault?
Or on both? Because if you die, well, that's the life insurance kicks in.
Yeah.
Your auto insurance doesn't matter. But if you get in a crash, I guess auto insurance could cover the damage of the car, but would that be on the company? And then another idea is, okay, so here's the thing. Cities in America, except from a slight few, are completely centered around interstates.
Yes, this is true.
This is that's just the way
how Des Moines works. It's how basically any city in the Midwest works.
I'd say probably aside from Chicago.
Yeah, but Chicago.
But even then, Chicago. Yeah.
Right,
so
right.
Chicago, just because it's been around for so long, it's on a lake. It has a huge rail system. Anyways, rails are safer, faster, can transport more people, more eco-friendly, cheaper for the person than cars. In every sense, right? So imagine this, right? So
but they're not. What's the word? I want to think of accessible or like autonomous. You can't. Oh, I want to go to my friend's house, Jerry. It lives 12 blocks over. You can't take a train to Jerry's house.
Why not?
Because rails. Because you have a car. I don't know.
But is that a fault of the rail system or is that a fault of the vehicle system?
Probably the rail system.
You think so?
Well, Des Moines doesn't have. I've been to. In my small amounts of traveling to DC and to like other places in like Spain. All of Spain is connected by a railroad. That's.
Did you need a car?
No.
Why
I didn't
not?
need a car one time because there's railway systems literally everywhere.
That was the same with New York City. We didn't even ride a bus in New York
City
because you had the rails.
Yes, exactly. You can get anywhere you like. The difficulty was.
Would you say that accessibility was a problem in Spain?
Yeah, actually.
Really? Okay.
Everyone only used the rails, so they were a little crowded sometimes, and also they're time based, right? So you have to wait. If you miss one, you're like a few minutes late, which isn't a big deal because it's so oiled at this point, at that point. But it was nice.
But even that, so for instance, Japan is working on something right now that they're creating a bullet train that can go 500 kilometers an hour. I haven't fact checked it, but somebody told me that is faster than a plane.
Maybe.
I think for the distance that they're traveling, because if you think about within Japan, a plane probably is never getting up to 400 miles per hour.
And also a plane takeoff time takes forever and also is super expensive because
there you go.
Jet fuel.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? And it's fully electric.
Ooh, that is sexy.
And it takes inspiration from Hyperloop because it's also fully magnetic. I just don't think it's a vacuum tube. So if it was, it could go faster. But just think about that for a minute. It's going to span from Tokyo to some other. It's the distance of LA to San Francisco, which is about 5 to 6 hours driving with traffic. It'll cover it in 30 minutes.
That is insane.
Faster than a plane would cover that distance.
That's insane.
So think about that for a minute, right? You are, say you're a family who lives in San Francisco, and they say, "Oh, hey, hey, father, we're moving your job to LA.
Father, your job's in LA now."
They don't have to move the family anymore. You just wake up. You wake up 30 minutes earlier. You take a train over.
That's actually sick. Okay, I haven't even thought about that because, like, my dad's drive is a good 45 minutes to his job every single day and back, and that's crazy to think that you could travel literally the span of the country within an hour.
Mm-hmm. And like my commute riding the bus, because I'm lucky enough to have a bus stop right across the street from my house, and my Ruan badge gives me free transportation,
Awesome.
which changes my world, changed my life for the better. So I have free transportation to anywhere a bus can line up to, and also I could put my bike on it. So really, as far as I'm willing to travel. And I could take buses to Ankeny. I could take buses all the way out to Waukee, I think.
And the bus system in Des Moines really is fluid and great.
It is.
Taking buses all over the place.
Rarely late.
Before I had a car.
Rarely late. And it's brilliant.
Well, it's one of the best in the area for sure. Definitely in all of Iowa.
Oh, yeah. And so, I mean, that's the thing is, when I look at it, right, I cannot think of a single reason humans should be driving cars. Can't think of one. Because, like, if people bring up, I want to go to my friend Jerry's house that's 12 blocks away. Well, what if you could walk outside your house, hop on a bus, and take it right over? Because think about it, right? If you were to put rails in Des Moines, which is pretty far-fetched and not going to happen for a long time, but we'll theorize for a minute, right?
You
could take off the bus system to Ankeny. So you could have a railway that goes from Ames to Des Moines. And what you open up is you stop closing Iowa State when I-35 is down. Because the reason they close when it's cold, right, when you remember that like 50-car collision, that's no longer a problem if you have a railway.
Hold on, hypothetically, is this a metro or is this a rail system? Is it underground or above ground?
We'll do above ground.
Okay.
So you're saying from Des Moines to Ankeny to Ames. Now you can have college students who can live in Des Moines and take a 20-minute train ride to Ames, one stop, maybe two, somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
So then you necessarily don't have to close school when I-35 gets bad. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
You could also have the railway go all the way south, hit Southridge Mall, hit Simpson. I could live at home, take the bus downtown, ride the railway to Simpson. Then I wouldn't have to pay for room and board. Cut college costs way down. It gives people an incentive to go to schools that are closer to home. You could have one go all the way out to Iowa City. It's a little bit more of a pain in the ass, but you could come home every weekend if you wanted to, and you wouldn't have to risk about a car.
This is true.
You could have one that goes all the way from, Waukee to Clive, maybe West Des Moines to Clive as well, and then they intersect and go all the way to Monterey.
My older sister, Olivia, who was on the podcast earlier, she lives out in Ames because she needs to go to school every single day.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a bus or if there was a train, I guess, from here to Ames, it got there in like 20 minutes. She wouldn't have to live.
Yeah.
She'd just go there for the day.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, you could have the train run once every hour.
That's insane.
And that would be, you have a train, and you could have it roll around. You have a train every hour. And you could offset it with the campus time. So say classes run, from 8 to 9, you could have the trains, get there on the half hour.
Yeah.
Every hour, on the half hour, every hour, and then Iowa State just works with their classes or whatever. I don't know the logistics
but
of that.
That is impressive.
And then
you deterring from that, I think, though, is the initial cost. Because
you could reroute too the buses so that you could line them up to the trains. So then from there, what you could do is, instead of having buses that go all the way out to Waukee and Jordan Creek and Ankeny and Southridge Mall, you just hop on a train, and then the buses can extend from there. So for instance, my buddy Diego, he lives 10-minute drive from Southridge Mall. That's as far as the bus will go. So he drives to the mall and hops on the bus. So what if the train would go there and then the bus would go farther to his house? Hops on the bus, hops on the train. He doesn't even need a car anymore.
That's wild.
So look, is it completely far-fetched? I don't think so.
No,
I just think it's it's out of the conversation for now, but I think if we hit a metro of what we're at, 700,000 right now. I think if we could hit a metro of like $1.25 million, I think it's on the table for a discussion. As we need parking to get bad enough.
Yeah.
And we need traffic to get bad enough. So now the conversation is say we move to autonomous vehicles, right? So because that is a more realistic step than putting an entire railway.
Definitely.
Then people go, okay, well, with autonomous vehicles, and we want to move towards public transportation. Where are we going to put those rails with the interstates? Put them on the interstates. Why would you need more than 3 lanes or even 2 lanes if you have autonomous vehicles? Especially if they're all hive mind. If they all work off of the same database, right? You have 1 lane of cars going 65 down the interstate, and they just merge in and out as you go. You would never need a second lane. You could have 1 lane of interstate traffic.
Well, at that point, it's basically a train.
Mm-hmm.
basically.
So now you can use the excess lanes on the interstate, throw in a train. Train becomes popular enough, no longer need cars. Now, this completely tanks the auto industry.
Yeah, it does.
100% tanks the auto industry, which is bad. But also, why are we? I guess my thing is why are we sacrificing human development?
Oh, so you're saying the next stage in next human like eco revolution is just the abolishment of cars in general, and because the industrial revolution, people got rid of basically all farming jobs and put in tractors, but now it's going to be
is that a problem anymore?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
because everyone has free time and there's new jobs.
Right. So that's the thing is people always talk about
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying
no. Yeah,
you have I think hit the nail on the head about the next stage in developing.
Because I think it's the closest, especially with what Tesla has. A lot of people don't know this. If you buy a Tesla vehicle and you pay $7,000 extra, it comes with all of the hardware necessary, all of the cameras necessary and sensors for autonomous driving. You just wait on the software updates.
That's slick.
And it slowly gets there. There was a guy who had put something on Twitter that I saw about he had drove from LA to New York City to Miami. 4,000 miles or 5,000 miles, 95% of it autonomous. He only stopped to charge, food, hi to people, but the whole thing's interstates. But that's still the amount of people who take interstates every day. I think there's like 1 million cars on I-4 alone between Orlando and Tampa every day. They don't have to drive it anymore.
Which is wild.
So that's the thing. And Tesla has been working towards its vehicles going from 35,000 to 25,000. That's their goal, which is crazy. Imagine that. Imagine if you can, instead of buying, which again, $25,000 is a lot of money. $35,000 is a lot of money.
But it's not out of reach.
It's
for
not.
The majority of the people who make a wage.
If I buy a new car ever in my life, which I really don't want to, but if I ever buy a car that's not a beater, I will be purchasing a Tesla.
Yeah. I'm excited for when they release your ability to custom make your own horn noises. So I can have bruh whenever I honk the horn.
Somebody cuts you off, bruh. You could probably put that in.
I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
If I had enough
car knowledge.
But
yeah, I think electric cars, electric transportation, I think that
the future.
Is that going to solve a climate problem? Is that going to solve our carbon emissions? No, not even close.
It'll definitely do an impact.
But it will. It'll
hit home.
Yeah, and honestly, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the whole climate fight and everything that's going on. I'm not against anything, but the only way you're going to get something done is if you make it easier. So my whole job is I work on mobile development for the technology in trucks.
Okay,
that is all I do. So they're tablets that tell them, oh, hey, this is the load you're taking. This is where you're taking it. This is us logging your hours and your speed and your odometer miles and your email and being able to use a phone. That's my job. My job is to make it as easy as possible. So it's me. If something breaks, I fix it. Now we have a team, but this is it's making that working on getting ruggedized tablets. Getting them just easier to set up. For instance, if somebody decides they want to be smart and try to factory reset our devices, it just re-enrolls it and then it keeps going as if nothing ever happened. So it's it's different.
It's impressive.
Yeah. So it's making their lives easier as well as our lives easier. And the thing with the whole climate fight is you have to make it easier for people, right? The whole metal straws, bamboo straws. If there's a plastic straw sitting somewhere, I'm never going to just.
Well, the plan is for that though is to eventually just rotate them out of the system.
Yeah, but is that easier for a business? No,
not now. But that's the goal, to make it easier.
Do you think it ever would be? Well, let me ask you this: Would it be easier if? Would it be easier if you could just?
I think it is good right now for businesses to use non-reusable straws.
Yeah.
It is best in the future for businesses to use metal straws in general.
Sure.
Because
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Or just reduce straws in general. I think it will. I think given any amount of time, we eventually it will come to pass.
We'll see. I just think it's
the climate change. The climate change fight is something I'm passionate about, but also not something I'm super concerned about because
agreed.
The footprint that I can make and do is also very small because I don't
especially in America. People don't realize this. America isn't even a top 5 producer of ocean waste.
Which is honestly wonderful. And
I mean, yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's like,
the climate fight is not a hill I'm willing to stand and die on to fight over that.
Yeah, agreed. Not a hill I'm willing, because
I'm not sure there. Okay, but that being said, there's not a lot of hills I will and do want to stand and die on. I feel like that okay, Theo, if there was a hill you could stand and die on, what would this hill be? Like,
is this relating to the question you asked me about?
Yeah, sure. This is the same question, basically.
Same question.
It's just, if you had one argument, one point to absolutely defend with your entire life, like with everything you have, what would it be? Like, what would you stand for?
Transportation.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. As someone who works in the transportation industry, as someone who... Oh, and you asked me about how it would affect truckers, which I didn't even answer that. But I'll get back to that in a minute. But as someone who works in the transportation industry, as someone who uses public transportation practically every day, it's important. It's everyone uses transportation. Everyone, whether it's public, whether it's private, everyone uses something to get from point A to point B, whether it's their own 2 legs or whether it's a vehicle that they own. Everybody has to get somewhere, right? Free healthcare is great, but what if those low income people can't even get to the hospital?
Yeah.
That's where public transportation comes into, right? There is, as far as I know, only one public transportation system in the entire world that profits. Want to take a guess that it is? Of all the giant ones, the big cities.
LA. Where?
Hong Kong.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And look, I don't know how true that is anymore and how much that holds given the state of Hong Kong right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's going anywhere right now.
right. But I mean, good for them. I stand with Hong Kong, right?
I've already talked about this in an earlier episode, but Hong Kong's the best.
And I think somebody today had told me that, because I was talking about this. I probably talk about this every day. That they think Japan is, so even if Japan is, I know it's not America. The MTA in New York sucks. Like, it works. It services, like, I think it's 8 billion people a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yes.
But it sucks. It's overcrowded. The technology's from the 40s. Most of the subway stations haven't been updated since the 50s or 60s.
As a man who's been to New York, I can say that there's more rat than steel down there.
Well, and so the thing is every single transportation system is subsidized by the government, right? As it should be.
Right.
Of all the things that are, I think it deserves it. Hong Kong's public transportation subsidizes the government because they make that. I think so. There's some like standard of every dollar you put into it, like how much you get back, and I think theirs is like 1.67, and I think New York's is like 0.4 or something stupid.
That's crazy.
I can't remember the exact numbers, but Hong Kong's like blows everybody's out of the water.
I know nothing about transportation, but that is insane how many people are serviced in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think they're a country of 6 million, so not even close to the amount of people in New York. But
Hong Kong's situation is unique, though, in the way that it's the only real place you can visit.
Yeah.
And kind of the one of the 2 business centers of the world being New York and Hong Kong, basically.
Yeah. Well, and so it's the city with the most skyscrapers in the world.
Yeah.
And it is. Their public transportation connects every major city and even minor cities, I believe, and it's fast as hell, and it's never late, and it's apparently really clean and really nice. Nobody complains about it. They're never overcrowded, and the technology is really updated.
Oh, okay. In Japan, there are certain train stations that have mascots, like cats. Like
have you been to Japan?
No, but okay. I have friends who have been or want to go. And I've seen posts about this, but certain train stations will have like cats to play. Oh, this is the mascot of the city. This is Cat, Cat Y XY. If there was a mascot for Des Moines, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, is this one of your questions you thought of?
Yeah, sure.
Oh
no, I just thought of
mascot for Des Moines.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, a big guy probably dressed in a corn costume.
Not even a piece of corn. The mascot is the big guy dressed in a corn costume. The mascot is Joe, right, State, who works as a corn costume on the weekends.
Maybe a pig, maybe a cow.
Pigs probably.
A chicken.
Oh, I hate the thing I'm using to edit.
So you talked about truckers.
Yes, that's what was the first 30 minutes we've been talking about planes, trains, and automobiles. It's the title of the episode, Dan.
Will truckers lose their jobs? Probably.
Is that a good thing?
It's the largest public employer. That's the thing. I hate to say it, but also, at the same time, somebody's got to unload it. Somebody's got to probably be in the vehicle too. Would they lose their jobs? Maybe not.
Oh,
I don't know.
You'd say it wouldn't go necessarily towards, like actually driving as opposed to like being the IT person for the truck, like just being on to fix issues.
Yeah, you could be a mechanic on the truck. That could definitely be it, because somebody has to unload it and load it. In a warehouse, you can have people do it by pallets. But for instance, Iowa Alcohol, it's a distribution center in Ankeny. Sorry, every single hard liquor in the state of Iowa has gone through a
trucking company.
Ruan.
Has
gone through Ruan. Every single hard liquor you'll ever find in the entire state. It is a state law. It goes through that distribution center. We got it in April.
Have you seen The Irishman?
Yes.
Thoughts?
I have. Loved it.
Yeah. It's good.
It's
whenever I think of truckers, I can no longer not think of The Irishman, because it's just it's good.
Yeah, but so in this distribution center, they will say, oh, hey, this here's one pallet, and it's going to go to these 2 convenience stores. You got to split it in half. Machine's not going to do that. There's no value in having a machine that does that. So you just have somebody do it. Yeah, and now this way, actually, truckers could, especially if they move from truckers to mechanics, and they're trained in, hey, this is how you fix this software, this is how you can fix this hardware. Ultimately, that not only makes them more valuable, but can increase their pay. So, look, I could be completely wrong. I have no idea, but that is the way I see it. So would it end the trucking industry? I don't know.
Because everyone needs trucks right now.
Yeah.
And until we develop a rail system across the U.S., everyone will continue to need trucks.
So, frankly, I think trucks will definitely outlive both of us. But, even then, you take cars off the road, it's just private vehicles, like city vehicles and trucks. I don't necessarily see a problem with that. If it's, slightly autonomous trucks and, even fully autonomous trucks, or even just for the start, just human driving trucks on a road where that are all autonomous vehicles and, and trains and buses, maybe that's not a problem. Because I think a human will always have to drive a bus.
Yes, I agree with you on that. Theo, in all the time I've known you, I have never known that you were this passionate about transportation.
It is.
I've known you for literally years, and we've never once had a conversation about trucks before.
Really? Yeah,
no, never.
That is the one thing I die in the hell standing for.
Trucking.
Transportation in general.
If that was a hill, are you going to ask me what hill I would die on?
Yes, absolutely.
If that was a hill I would die on, let's see.
Avatar: The Last Airbender,
dude. Avatar:
absolutely.
I can go on for literally years about how good that show is. The voice actor for Zuko is actually a breakdancer in real life.
Really?
Yeah. They animated him. He when asking him about how the show should be animated or whatever, what's your input? On season 3, one of the firebending moves is his dance move, a breakdancing move that he does. That show's pretty cool. So good.
Okay. Anyways, what hill do you die on?
Honestly, probably religious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I know not a lot of people want to hear about it, necessarily, generally.
So probably a lot of people didn't want to hear about trucks, but hey.
Here we are.
If you tune into this podcast,
if you've made it past the 30 minutes of trucks, then you're here now, then this is what we're talking about. No, but if someone asked me to deny what I believe, what I know to be a fact, then I'd probably die over that or get fought over it.
Good for you.
Yeah. I think it's really very important to have the very strong belief in something, regardless of what it is. Because I respect people very heavily who have looked at my religion, which is a member of the Church of LDS. I'm a member of the LDS religion, which is Latter-day Saints, which is just Mormons, fancy name for it. But I've looked at people who have looked at my religion and said, that's stupid. I've made the decision that is dumb, and that's what that is, and I'm not going to talk about it. I'd be like, great, let me talk to you about it, but I respect your opinion. What I'm frustrated by is people I don't know one way or the other, and I'm not going to find out.
Okay.
because I understand your like uncertainty, but like the refusal to accept it and the refusal to move on, I don't vibe with people like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, so for me, religion has never been a part of my life.
Right, because you didn't really grow up in a religious family.
Nope, didn't grow up in a religious family. Can't really say I've ever really been to church all that often. But for me, it's I like having conversations with people about it, just because, like for instance, my boss has spoken to me about his upbringing and his reform. And
really?
Yeah, a little bit. And I've had friends who have talked to me about it, and so I think for me, it's I treat it as a learning experience. So like I want to know your background, your beliefs, and what you feel strongly towards. So yeah, tell me about it.
Oh, okay. Well, you put me on the spot. No, but the idea behind the LDS faith is basically Christianity, but with part 3 of the Bible.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the synopsis that I can give. If you want me to like go more in depth about it, sure. But all the truths that we have, the fullness of the gospel is what we call it, which is derived from this 3rd book of gospel that we've received from Joseph Smith, and you've probably seen the play 1,000 times or the musical.
Probably.
You ever seen the musical, the Book of Mormon musical that came into the Mormon?
Oh yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah.
And so, in like 1825, Joseph Smith finds this book of scripture in the ground that tells the story of a family that leaves Jerusalem from the time that it's invaded by the Babylonians.
Okay.
And they head to the U.S., somewhere in Central America, and them living for like 2,000 years before Christ comes.
Okay.
The main differences between me and my religion and any other group of Christianity is that we believe that Jesus, Heavenly Father, and like the Holy Ghost are all separate things.
Okay.
And also that Jesus, when he died, came to the U.S. also.
Okay.
He made an appearance there. And there are also certain special ordinances that are very important, like in order to be saved later on.
Okay.
Those basically being baptism, marriage, and your relationship with Heavenly Father.
Okay.
And that's it. That's basically the whole keystones.
Okay.
That's all.
So you're one who looks for marriage then as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I want to get married by the time I am 430.
Come again?
Yeah, dude.
Did you say 4:30?
No, but
that's because that's
before.
Before 30.
Yeah.
I heard before.
I'm getting married at
4:30.
4:30. Me and Peter getting married. What's happening?
I was like 4:30. I was like, what?
No.
Okay, so before 30. Okay, and are children a part of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, family is definitely the most important thing to me.
Okay. I mean, good for you.
That is probably that's a subsection of the hill.
I respect that so much.
No, I'd probably fight and die on the family hill. Definitely.
I would fight and die on the family hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody threatened my sisters or my parents or significant other, 100% I'd die.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's just like
not even a
question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the vibe.
Yeah. What other questions do you have for me?
In general?
Well, because I thought I guess I assumed you had like a long list of like.
No. It was mostly just like. Also, depending on, because I want to hear more stories from you, because you have crazy stories.
Of course I do.
And also about like your thoughts on various things. And
okay.
I was not expecting, or I did not write down or think of transportation, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were vocal.
You got 30 minutes out of it.
I'm getting to hear the real you.
Of course. Oh yeah. So please ask away. We'll go speed round. So
what are your thoughts on the new? No, you can take up as much time as you like. There's no time restriction, Theo.
Okay, you release a 3-hour podcast,
dude.
Honestly,
let's release a 3-hour podcast.
If somebody listened to the entire thing, they would learn a lot about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead. That's the point of listening to 3 hours of Joe Rogan. We can split it up into 2 episodes. It's all right.
Okay. All right.
Let's just talk.
Okay, let's just talk.
Thoughts on the new Clone Wars season 7?
Haven't seen it.
It's coming out on Friday.
Oh. Okay. I was like,
it's coming out, Theo. It's coming out. No one's seen it.
I was like, shoot. I was like, I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I was like, excited.
Yes,
I'm excited. Yes, very excited.
I have not watched enough Clone Wars or Star Wars lore to like be invested yet, but I am working towards that point.
I like going into things blind.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll probably watch like recaps of season 1 through 6, mainly because I haven't seen them since I was like 8, but or whenever they were right. So I'll probably watch those, and then I'll probably just go into it and just watch it, like, and just because I don't know, I don't like hunting for trailers and hunting for theories about what's gonna happen in season 7.
I am the opposite. The only thing, every game I've ever played, I have watched a playthrough beforehand buying it.
Really?
So the thing is about me, I do enjoy like blind playthroughs way more. It's just that I can never stop myself. I'm always too excited about it, and I have to
really
watch way too much content. Yes.
For me, I think for me, it's the hardest part is starting a game, because if I start watching a playthrough and I see, because the beginnings of all games, doesn't matter, survival, sort, all the same. So for me, I like going into a beginning of a story completely blind, just because then I'm not sitting there, like, oh, I've already seen this, I'm just skipping through this beginning stuff, and I feel like it kind of ruins it in the beginning for me.
I recently started playing God of War because it was on for free on the PS Station.
Do you have PS Plus too?
Yeah.
Yes,
my man.
That's how I get half my games.
Exactly.
Because it's such a good deal.
It's a wonderful service. As much as I hate Sony, because Sony's just a terrible company in general.
Agreed. Well, everybody is.
Yeah.
At this point, I bask in it. I'm like, Amazon treats people like shit. Whatever. Here's my money.
Jeff Bezos. Speaking of Amazon, this is completely off topic. He is so wealthy. Theo, think about it like this: you make $64,000 a year.
I do.
Hypothetically.
Okay.
Let's say you make $64,000 a year.
Yes.
$100 an hour. A crazy good job. All right. You would have to work for 4,000 years to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money $1 billion is, Theo? Do you know how much money $1 billion is?
That's why you invest, man.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I think there's some statistic that like 90% of millionaires have investments in real estate.
Yeah, because real estate,
you have to. So the thing with wealth is that, okay, we'll say I make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Giving people money doesn't make them wealthier. You have to learn how to spend the money.
Okay, so
it's like, it's one of those things where it's like there are plenty of people who are making six figures and are living paycheck to paycheck. But
really?
I think it's like a third. Maybe I read that wrong.
Anyways,
there's a lot of people, because it's one of those things where it's like, all right, let me ask you this, right? You're a regular family, 2 kids, right? Wife's a stay-at-home mom. You make $100,000 a year. You probably have student loans, so you're putting money into that. You probably have a mortgage, assuming you're young.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put your kids through college, and how are you spending your money? Do you have a big house? Do you go on vacations a lot? Do you go out to eat a lot? That money will start chipping away like nothing, especially because that's pre-tax.
Right.
Post-tax, that guy's probably making $70,000, if that.
Well, I read somewhere that in order for all of the climate crisis to be solved, right,
Mm-hmm.
you need like $30 billion.
Mm-hmm.
They're trillionaires. That's all I have to say. Like,
I don't think there are any trillionaires.
no, they are trillionaires, dude.
Where?
I don't know.
Jeff Bezos isn't one.
Not yet.
Okay. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
It is the amount of wealth that is just that exists and is not distributed
Mm-hmm.
to more than like maybe 1,000 people
Mm-hmm.
is insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
most of it. Here's the thing. A lot of people have a very large misconception, right? They see, oh, Jeff Bezos has $130 billion. So that means his bank account is $130 billion.
No,
not even close. I would put money down that Jeff Bezos' bank account isn't more than $10,000.
Jeff Bezos is what, dude? He makes I say he puts $5 million in there. And that's all.
No way. Not even close.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
It's all investments.
I mean, that makes sense, but it's all investments in his own company.
Yeah.
He makes that much money a year.
What is that? What is that though?
I don't know.
Stocks.
It's like accepting money in Bitcoin.
Yeah, stocks. That's what that is. So I own 2 shares of Tesla.
Yes, we've talked about this.
That have accumulated to quite a bit of money.
Right.
It is like 1,600, I think. That $1,600 is in my bank account. It's my stock portfolio.
Right.
Same with Warren Buffett. He bought a shitload of Coke and Apple stocks way back when, and they've accumulated to the point where
to this point,
right? To his $80 billion.
Yeah,
that's all stock portfolio. All he has to do is he gets dividend payments, and I'm assuming what he probably does is he probably gets dividend payments monthly, because usually dividend payments are made quarterly, but businesses offset. So like McDonald's and like Starbucks release on different months of the year. Anyways, so
you're right. There's no trillionaires. I'm not thinking about it more often. No, there's not.
So
it's just that the richest percent own more than $1 trillion. That's all.
Yeah. So you're looking at this, right?
Yeah.
That's all stock portfolio. He gets dividends monthly. He's probably like, he has a paid off house, paid off car. Probably doesn't spend all that much money a month because he doesn't have to.
Okay, yeah,
and
he
goes, okay, hey, $2,000 of those dividend payments, just put them into my bank account. I'll spend that this month. Everything else he puts back into the stocks.
Bezos got fined $16,000 worth of parking tickets because he would just park like in the handicapped parking spot while he was making his new house.
Yep, I believe it.
And that is nothing to him.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Which is insane to me.
And that's so for him, right? If he owns 25% of Amazon, what's Amazon's value? Over $1 trillion. So that means he owns 250 billion. So he doesn't. So we'll say 5%.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, $50 billion. $50 billion is 5% of Amazon.
Okay.
That's $50 billion in the stock market that just slowly goes up. And if he ever needs it, he just sells. Like for instance, he bought the most expensive property in LA for like $8 billion.
Yeah.
All he literally did was just sold Amazon stock and they put it out. So that money isn't in his bank account at all.
It's just money that he has constantly.
It's money to his that's his net worth. So a net worth is not bank account. A net worth is real estate, stock portfolio, and whatever else that would be considered assets. I guess technically a car is net worth, even though it's a liability. But even then, if $5 million is bank account, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think, because it's whatever he would need.
Yeah, it's whatever he would need in the day.
Yeah, in the day.
Because everything else is just better in stocks than it is in bank accounts.
Yep. It's just because then it's not taxable unless you sell it.
Mm.
It's not at all. So, you look at that.
He paid $0 worth of taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's also why he probably didn't spend any money to get to that either. So think about it, right? He puts some money down to start Amazon. He puts in years of his life into this company.
Yeah.
And eventually, it gets big enough and he signs off. He goes, "Yep, I'll take a 5% share." Now that 5% is $80 billion.
Yeah.
Or $50 billion.
Yeah, $50 billion.
Right. And then his other real estate investments, because now that house he bought that's $8 billion, that's $8 billion to his net worth. He literally just transferred the money from one part of his net worth to another.
I feel as though Jeff Bezos and like Elon Musk are the main characters of the world, and we're all just kind of the NPCs that you can see as like bonus content or whatever.
So funny thing, that bounces off of that. Ever heard of? I know I'm going to get something wrong here, but bear with me. The idea stays the same. The four. What's it called? Like the four.
Horsemen of the Apocalypse?
No, but similar. No, not similar at all. The four, like, people of ancient China. The four.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Did I explain this to you already?
No, but I'm familiar with what you're talking about. It's the four, not emperors, but
starts with an A, I think. The four.
It'll come to you later. Just go on.
Okay, so
the four leaders, or what Shens, whatever they're called.
Yeah, so the four are the priest, the warrior, the merchant, and the slave. So all these terms are relative, but they can be applied to now, right? So your priest is someone who's wise, right? Okay. Or a priest. A priest would be wise, or just a wise person. A warrior is your warrior, someone who's brave, a lot of courage, right? Your merchant is anybody in the business world, and your slave isn't necessarily a slave, it's your working class. It's your NPCs. So, basically the idea is that there are eras of each of these. And they all go in a cycle. Priest, warrior, merchant, slave, and then a terrible catastrophic event, and then it resets. So, I got shown something today. Ever play World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't. Anyways, back in like 2007 or however long ago it was, doesn't matter. Did you ever hear about the plague that went on in World of Warcraft?
No, I played for like 2 years in middle school.
Okay, so I think it was before that. Anyways, basically, it was before it got huge, but it was big enough. They had a boss they would fight. It was a high level player boss, and basically you got hit with a plague during it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was enough. It was something that would take a few hit points away just to make the boss harder, but it wouldn't kill you because you were such a high level. And then once you got done with the boss, plague was clear. It didn't matter. Turns out they forgot to remove it from pets, and the plague was transferable.
Epic.
So I am not joking when I say this. I listened to actually a podcast about it today. The plague had gotten to the pets. The characters would go back into cities, and it would spread. New players would die instantly, because if you're a high level player, it doesn't really affect you. Low levels, got low health, got not a ton of stuff, done, dead. It had gotten to the point where you could not play World of Warcraft without getting the plague. The developers did everything. They would quarantine players who had it. They would put them on like islands together.
That's crazy.
So basically, they would literally they would have an island of sick people, and if you had the plague, you'd go to the sick island, and then they'd have like a healthy island, and it would just be like a triangle. It didn't work. They couldn't get everyone. It just didn't work. The plague was everywhere. Guess how they fixed it?
Oh.
Reset.
That
the entire
sucks.
game.
That's
They
so
deleted.
much sucks.
They deleted all of their servers. Anyone who had done anything on the game, fresh reset. That was the only way they could save the game. So what does this show us, right? This shows us that no matter what, the only way things get better is if you reset everything.
I see.
So,
would you... Completely different thought, but still applies to the whole plague idea. How seriously do you think you're going to take the coronavirus? How serious are you taking it now?
New information came out today. 6 confirmed cases in New York.
Oh, no.
No. Want to hear what's better?
No.
They released them.
Really?
6 random people went to the hospital, said, hey, I'm feeling really down. They tested them, sent their shit to the CDC. The CDC said, yep, these are confirmed cases of a new strain of coronavirus. They let them go into the streets of New York City. Let that marinate for a minute. And you know who's not covering it? The news. They're not covering it. China put in a law that you couldn't leak information. You couldn't put any videos out on the internet about anything that's going on.
It's going to stop like the New York Times. If they're going to report on it, they're going to report on it. Who cares what China puts in a law?
No, on their own people.
Oh,
their own people. Like, you would like get the death penalty, and you would go to jail if you put out videos or articles.
Well, you saw
anything.
The high-ranking, apparently North Korean official got shot dead, like an opening, because they're like, oh, that guy has the coronavirus.
Yeah, I believe it. They started putting laws in China that you would receive the death penalty if you refused treatment for the coronavirus. And also, all these people that say, "Oh, it only has a 2% death rate."
It's more. No.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Death rate literally does not matter, especially because, first of all, those numbers are reported from China. I don't trust it. Second of all, 2,000 Starbucks is closed. Apple is predicted and is on track to miss their earnings for the next quarter. Their earnings expectations for the next quarter because of the hit on the manufacturing sector in China. It doesn't matter that nobody's dying
yet
at all. What matters is that it is destroying China's economy.
There's been a plague every century in the 1920s.
And here we are. Here we are. So 6 people are running around on the streets of New York. Do I take the coronavirus seriously? Yeah, a little bit. But it doesn't matter. We're all screwed. We could have it. The incubation period has been changed from 0 to 24 days. We could both have it right now. And you know who else would have it? Everyone in our orchestra class.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's done. So all it takes is one hit, and we're all done.
And it's also more, not lethal, but has a higher contagion rating, whatever it is, because I'm not a doctor, of the Spanish flu.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. When you're talking about the lethalness of it, it's only lethal if you run out of water and food. So why would it be a problem, right? Except when everyone gets it. Imagine if you're China, and right now a third of your population is dehydrated. Think about that. That is 300 plus million people that don't have enough water to survive right now in an insanely developed economic superpower country. That's insane. What happens in America? Look, we're fine right now, but what happens when we run out of water?
I'm always concerned about how seriously to take these things, because there was that period of time when we all seriously considered that North Korea was going to bomb us, and it never happened.
Never happened.
And we all were scared about Y2K, and nothing happened.
We were all scared of Ebola.
We were all scared of Ebola, and literally nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always weird for me to hear people fear mongering, if that's the term we're going to use.
Sure.
About the coronavirus, just because we've seen so much. And it's hard to take things seriously now.
I completely
and I'm not sure, to put it in context, exactly how impactful the virus is.
I don't think it'll kill a lot of people at first. If it does get out. But so this kind of goes back to why I'm scared of it. But with those 4 eras, we talked about the catastrophic event that comes after the era of the slave.
Right.
So you can follow this back in history, and it's not line for line, but we'll say your era of the priest is FDR.
Okay.
In America. Brings us takes a step in the right direction towards taking us out of the Great Depression, even though it was World War II, but led us through World War II. Wise man created things like Social Security, the Great New Deal, and whatever. And then
I see you paid attention in A-Push.
It's been a couple of years. And then Truman comes around, drops the atomic bomb. You could consider him our Age of the Warrior, got us out of World War II. And then we get into the era of the merchant. Things like the TV is invented. Revolutionizes marketing forever. Things like the internet is invented. Things like modern computers, personal computers, are invented. And then the era of the slave is when the merchants take over. And now you have things like Google and Amazon and Apple that hold these monopolies. And us, you and me, feel like we're powerless. I mean, go around and ask anyone. They feel like, oh, no, I can't do anything. Climate change is a problem, but there's nothing I can do to stop it. And so now we're in the era of, oh, my God, what's going to happen, right? It's like the Great Depression. It's there's nothing I can do. I might as well just keep going. Sorry. Completely disagree.
I was going to say, economically right now, we're doing wonderfully.
Let me backtrack. The robber baron era. Rockefeller,
absolutely.
Vanderbilt.
Yes.
Economy's doing fantastic, but all the people are like, there's nothing I can do about it. They've got all the power. Great Depression hits.
Well, they did in fact, Rockefeller gunned down, like, what, a few hundred of his own workers for protesting before they unionized.
Yeah.
And an anti-union rifle, and
so they felt
no one did anything.
So that's the thing. Everyone says, oh, man, like, there's nothing we can do. Google and Amazon are going to last forever. No, they're not. So at this point, we're waiting for a catastrophic event to happen. I thought it was going to be Hong Kong and China. I was never the Iran thing. No, I didn't think that was going to happen.
You didn't think World War III was going to happen?
No, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
Really?
My life. Yes, absolutely.
Over even the missile strike and the shooting down the Boeing 737?
Yeah.
Really? 282 people dying? You don't think it was enough to prompt a world war?
Absolutely not. Why? We have been doing it.
Yeah.
We have been doing it forever. Here's the funny thing that people don't realize. What's his name? Qasem Soleimani?
I don't know.
Funds and trained. Well, he used to. He's dead now. The guy who got killed.
Yeah.
Funded and trained terrorist groups across the entire Middle East that we were at war with in Iraq. He funded and trained and supported the Syrian government over their regime over the people. Let that soak in for a minute. We killed a man that, you're right, Iran beloved.
Yeah, no, he was a terrible person. I'm not going to question you on that.
Terrible person. But we had already been at war with him. So that's the thing. Is it a war crime? I don't think so. Our ally Israel had been under fire from them in Pakistan forever. We had been under fire from them from Iraq. We had bombed each other multiple times. So we take out their leader. And what now? Things have quieted down a lot.
They have.
Have you heard anything about terrorist groups recently?
Fun fact: I haven't heard anything about the ISIS Caliphate since that one lady posted on Facebook. ISIS, stop it, guys! Please stop it.
There you go.
Hey, I'm not saying there's correlation, but
hey, look, it lines up. But yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is that they bombed us in December. We bombed them in December. Things been going on forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, was that going to start World War III? No chance. And even if it did, we would have won by a landslide. Are you kidding me? Here's the thing: not against Iran, because Iran is backed by Russia and China. But look what's happening to China now. Russia doesn't have any money. Iran doesn't have any money. Where do they get their money from? China. North Korea doesn't have any money. They get their money from China.
You should have a conversation with Fez about Chinese world power.
Oh, I bet that would be entertaining.
No, that's not you and he had different viewpoints. It's just that you and he would just talk off each other for maybe 8 hours.
Well, no. So that's the thing is that we would get into a world war with them. Fighting would go on forever, but then China would get hit, and Iran and Russia would all weaken, and we could literally say, "Hey, look, we're gonna destroy you. Surrender," and they probably would have. Especially because China started releasing tariffs on some of our medical products as well as like water and stuff. So we could have said, we're just not going to give it to you. And they'd be like, wait now. I'm just saying. I look at this and I go, okay, this guy in Iran got killed. Don't care. I woke up and I read that article and I said, awesome. I'm going to get heat for this for the next month of my life. Don't care. That is what I saw.
Interesting.
So
yeah. I mean, yeah. All right, that's a viewpoint.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Also, World War III. I am not a war. I don't like the idea of war. I don't think there's any reason we should have ground troops anywhere. But it'd all be cyber warfare.
It's hard for me to make a statement on the state of the nation or the state of foreign affairs as far as military goes, because I just know nothing.
Yeah, I don't know anything either.
I'm so vastly uninformed, and my viewpoint comes from this tiny little keyhole in the wall. I can't really widen or feel like I can widen until I am actually part of the fight, or I've actually done some real journalism digging, and I don't want to do either of those things because it doesn't really affect me. And I hate watching the news, man. I hate watching and listening to the news because it's just
the news is stupid.
It's so stupid because it's all run by basically the same people.
Here's what you have to remember.
Oh, what do I have to remember? A little nugget for the people at home.
Media is a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They are making a profit. My dad had a friend who used to work for ESPN, and he used to do their show every morning. Anyways, they basically, right now actually, right? NBA All-Star Game, you're going to get the NBA playoffs, you're going to get the NHL playoffs, you're going to get spring training for baseball, NFL Combine, NFL Draft. All they would talk about is the NFL. Yeah. Why? Because if they talked about anything else, the ratings would drop. So at the end of the day, they look at that and say, the NFL, not really relevant right now, but we have to talk about it because that's what people want to hear.
Well, ESPN is not news, dude.
Well, no, I'm just saying in sports, right? So that was a story a more personal story I could tell. But okay, let me look at this, right? This is going to piss a lot of people off that listen to this, what I'm about to say. Okay. So trigger warning.
Oh, you're giving a trigger warning right now.
School shootings don't matter. Irrelevant. In the year of 2018, 33,000 people died to gun deaths. 71 of them were to mass shootings. Look at me in the eye and tell me that is a big deal. I know it's the most insensitive thing that you're ever going to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Because and my heart goes out to the families. It's terrible that people died, but media doesn't talk about the literal dozens of people who commit suicide a day. 22,000 of those 33,000 people, or maybe it was 11,000. I don't know. Anyways. Well, shit.
You gonna cite your source there?
Actually, yeah, because I did. I wrote an essay.
I'll look it up.
I wrote an essay about an AP Lang last year because we had to talk about gun violence, and everyone was like, get rid of guns. But I was like...
I've talked about this in an earlier episode. I think guns, my own personal perspective on it, is that guns and the NRA, not necessarily the NRA, because the NRA is a terrible organization, but
agreed.
Guns in general are a necessary evil. to both like the liberty of the U.S. and also like self-defense.
Oh man, I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring up how many people committed suicide. Sorry, go on.
It's that, people like in Hong Kong are not allowed to have weapons at all.
Imagine if they did.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Imagine if they did. That's why my opinion about guns has changed so drastically since when I was in 7th grade and first like a real school shooting that wasn't Columbine happened.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally hundreds of people died.
So here's the thing with that, right? So the media doesn't talk about those dozens of people who died of suicide. Why? Because nobody wants to wake up and read about that. But it's frankly more important.
I agree with you that it's more important, but I wouldn't say that school shootings just don't matter, Theo. I mean, they do.
I think they are irrelevant to the gun control conversation.
Oh.
That's what I mean. I think they are irrelevant to the gun control conversation. Because here's the thing. The Second Amendment has one purpose, and it is the purpose of a tyrannical government.
Exactly.
And people say, oh, when does that ever happen? That's never going to happen. That's how we were funded.
It's Hong Kong, yeah.
That's how we were funded. It's happening in Hong Kong right now. I would bet you if Chinese people had a Second Amendment, their government wouldn't be so tyrannical. The reason we have kept a democracy is because of the Second Amendment.
It is bizarre to me that the entire American Revolution happened over a 3% tax, Theo.
Yeah.
It was a 3% tax.
Yeah.
And it was like the most wealthy 30% that revolted. Which is honestly weird for revolution in general, but also it puts a lot of context into gun rights as like the initial founding of it. And so that's why people who are like pro NRA and pro like buying every gun ever versus people who are like anti-gun, both are insane. But the middle ground is what is actually required.
Look, I understand having a gun for self-defense. I think everyone should exercise their Second Amendment right. And
it's not even that I should. It's that I could.
Yeah.
Is what is valuable to
me. Have you kept up on the stuff in Virginia?
No, none.
So Virginia actually just got denied, I think yesterday, or maybe this morning. They were going to try to pass a gun law that said, hey, we're gonna take away your assault weapons, right? Similar to the assault weapons ban. And gun protesters protested peacefully, actually. Didn't get passed. Here's the thing. Is it necessary we have automatic weapons? Absolutely. Not a popular opinion, right? Let me ask you this. If you take automatic weapons away from people, semi-automatic weapons away from people, you're leaving people with handguns, shotguns, hunting guns.
Right.
In the event of a Hong Kong, now we stand no chance. And that is the fundamental value. The Second Amendment does not matter at all until it does.
This is something that you have said that I think is true. It's just that it's hard to articulate that in our setting.
Okay, sure. Okay. Also, assault weapons suck.
Yeah.
As somebody who has shot one, sorry mom, sorry dad.
They don't know that you shot an assault weapon.
They don't know that I've shot a weapon. So, let me put it this way. Ever played a video game?
Yeah.
You know how when you shoot it kind of...
That's how it works.
That's how it happens.
Yeah. I'm aware. I've shot a weapon before.
It just doesn't... So that's the thing is that you see when people get knocked on their ass, that happens. People shoot shotguns with their back to a tree. It's not easy. It's not like you can't just walk in and spray.
Right.
I don't know. So here's the thing. I don't think there is any reason we should outlaw certain guns because ultimately it's a mental health
When
issue.
did you? No, I absolutely agree with you on that. But when did you develop this opinion? Like, what point did you say this is my idea on it? Like, would you say this is like parent based or like something you independently thought?
No, my buddy Diego, 100%. Because he is that way. He hates the NRA, but he is full gun. So I used to be one of the people that was like, oh, I understand the Second Amendment, it's necessary, but I don't think there's any reason we have assault weapons. And he brought up, well, what happens when people are armed with shotguns versus people, the military with assault weapons? And I was like, okay.
My opinion changed immediately when the Hong Kong protest starts.
Yeah.
And I read an article where a guy used a bow and arrow that he was using during class to defend himself, his home and family versus, the government. Which is insane to me.
If that man had a weapon. And so let me ask you this. You are a Hong Kong officer. You see a bunch of people protest, throwing tear gas into it.
Gas and rubber bullets.
Right. Why does that scare you? Right? No reason. A bunch of even people with bows and arrows, that doesn't really scare you. Same thing happens in America. And look, your people like you and me aren't going to show up there, but those guys that live in redneck Iowa that own those weapons, as much as we make fun of them, those people are going to show up.
Let's talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If Texas Chainsaw Massacre happened in real life, it wouldn't happen. Every person in Texas would go, finally, and pull out the Glock
Right.
they have in their boot at all times.
Right.
It wouldn't be an issue.
Let me bring up another point.
And while I don't ever want to live in Texas, and Texas is a place.
Yeah.
It is so funny to me that we have that culture in the U.S.
Oh, I mean, but that's the thing. Ultimately, when shit hits the fan, who's going to show up?
The Texans.
Yeah. They're going to be like, hey, absolutely not.
Have you ever seen
every cop is going to look at those guys who own bulletproof vests, who own AR-15s and better, because AR-15 relatively kind of sucks, but better, and they're going to be okay. All right, yeah, you guys are
the
fine.
gun expo guys who like owns a minigun that you can strap to the top of your car.
Especially because when you look in the state of Virginia and why ultimately this law never would have worked, there are 8,000 National Guard members in Virginia. There are 8 million. There are 8 million gun owners. Who's going to win that fight?
It's not a matter of fighting. It's just a matter of numbers. That's all.
Yeah, and so
I feel like gun culture in the U.S. is very interesting because it kind of feeds into itself. You know, it cultivates more gun culture.
Yeah, agreed.
Where would you say that among like culture, like a certain group of people that think a certain way, does it not lead to like that snowball effect?
Does it not lead to that snowball effect?
Yeah, because everywhere I've ever been, everywhere I've ever seen, the snowball effect where a large group of people think a certain way, it just continues to grow. Like in Catalan, in Spain, right? The entire northern part of Spain wants to secede from the southern part of Spain because they're the wealthiest 10%, and because they do. Their political the leader of the group, who was basically saying, "Hey guys, get your guns. Let's go fight them. Let's revolutionize right now." Got put in jail because he was talking bad about what he was doing. And that movement has only gained kind of traction since he's been put in prison, basically, with some protests. In what in your experience, how much of your like beliefs on everything basically comes from you versus comes from the culture that you live in, would you say?
All of it comes from the culture I live in.
Really? What is an independent like belief that you have that is separated from everything else?
None.
Really?
Yeah. I think people are products in their environment. The reason I care about public transportation is because I got the job at
Which
Ruan,
makes sense.
right?
And the reason also why I'm so religious, mostly because of my family and my upbringing.
And why do you care about your family so much?
Because I lived in a family.
No. But would you say that they would die on a hill for you?
Yeah.
Then that's why. So if I had a shitty family, that wouldn't be the case for me. That wouldn't be a thing. If I had a shitty girlfriend, that wouldn't be, that wouldn't be the topic of, that wouldn't be. I wouldn't die on the hill for her, but I do because I don't have a shitty girlfriend, right? So it's things like when I look at it, it's every one of my decisions has been based upon my environment. Everything, right? The people I hang out with, the experiences I've had. I mean, because what makes up you?
This is a discussion now.
Yeah. Now we've gotten serious.
Now we've gotten here.
Yeah.
What would you say makes up you?
Environment. I mean, look.
I think, but there are occasions, rare and special, in which people rise above the circumstances and the environment in which they're living in.
Like what?
I have some personal stories.
Okay.
Not necessarily that has happened to me.
Share if you would like.
I have people that I'm close with.
Okay.
That live in horrible, horrible circumstances.
Okay.
As in, parents are criminals and we'll never see them basically again.
Okay.
And there are certain people, right, who both come from the same scenario that I know very well, and some have chosen just decided to rise above that, versus people who have decided to sustain that experience which they have lived in and like sustained it. And so what is so inspiring, bizarre, kind of jarring to me is that there's a conscious decision that you can make, like a shift that you can have that makes not necessarily makes you, but gives you the potential to be that person who rises above versus the person that just stays.
Without sharing their names or anything, do you see any differences between those people?
Yeah,
Like,
namely like performance in school and also the outlook on life.
okay. Would you say that the person who has a better performance in school and the person who rose up, would you say that they have better friends than the person who didn't? Would you say that that person has better role models in their life?
They have the same role models.
Really?
They have the same role models.
Are they siblings?
Yes.
Okay. That's tough because because I guess in my mind, I don't know the whole story, but I guess in my mind, I think that there had to be something, right? Because I think that's a common psychological question is, with alcohol parents, you have two brothers, one becomes, has a great job in a family, the other becomes an alcoholic as well, right? And I think it's, maybe there is a personal thing to that and there is that conscious decision, but I guess to me, the decisions I've made has been based off of watching other people frick up. Sorry.
I'll edit it out.
Watching other people screw up and watching other people not and make the right decisions. Watching things like TV that have impacted those decisions, reading books, reading articles. So maybe I'm wrong, but I guess.
No, you're not wrong. I don't know. I see where you're coming from. Because also you look at the same thing about how people are radicalized in both like terrorist organizations and also like in redneck Iowa. It's from like online communities and personal communities that you grow those ideals and that festers. And there's the good festering and there's the bad festering, and that's all there is to it.
I mean, would you say that you are identical to your sister Campbell?
No.
Okay. But would you guys say that you have similar role models?
Yeah. Yes, of course. I mean,
same case. They're, those siblings you had mentioned grow up with the same role models, as you've stated. Same parents, took a situation differently, but like you said, you and your sister are different people. You each have different interests and different, things that have shaped your life to make the decisions that you have made.
And I think that also comes down to nature versus nurture, versus what is actually your pre-positioned genetic way of living versus the way that you were raised and the way that you exist now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's something that I think about way too much. Not necessarily way too much, but it takes up a lot of my day-to-day thoughts about it.
Yeah.
About what people are like. Okay, the funnest game I've ever played by myself is like, what's the story? When I look at a random person on the street or whatever, and I say, I can concoct a story for that person.
Okay, all right.
It's so much fun to do, man. It also has helped dramatically with my road rage. Before I started doing this, I had terrible road rage, dude. I would yell at everybody. Not like leave my hand out the car door or whatever, but I would like, you're an idiot. Your favorite moment of your life is probably listening to K-pop radio. Like, what are you doing? But it's much easier now if I know Jonathan is just hustling to go see his single son, like his son when he's a single dad, as opposed to everything else.
Right.
It's so much more intriguing to do.
I think, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a great game. I mean, because that's the thing. Everybody has a story. Why is this person speeding? Maybe they're trying to rush somebody to the hospital. Maybe they've just had a rough day and they just want to get home.
Yeah, and I feel like that's always perfect. If I'm ever an employer, that's the game I'll play.
What's their story? Because
you hear the stories about the people who like put in all the work for this like minimum wage job, basically. They come in 13 minutes late one day and they're fired. But they were late because, they had an issue with their heart or they went through a tough divorce or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But it's interesting to think about. And also, if you apply that to like politics or to transportation or to anything we've been talking about for the last 30-minute segments,
everybody has a story.
Which is so much more impactful and meaningful when you see like my views on the government are different than yours substantially because you and I just have different viewpoints.
And when you had originally asked me, what would you die on a hill for? Politics, never. Because I know that some people, like for me, transportation and education are like number 1 and 2.
Absolutely.
But for some people, it's religion, like yourself. Some people, it's family. Some people, it's guns. Some people, it's healthcare. So I don't want to argue about something that's more important. I'm not going to argue that something is more important to somebody when ultimately
it's just about the way that you look at life.
Yeah, it's just what's important to you. And sometimes a lot of people are, believe in gun control because their brother got shot on a home invasion. Some people are very against gun control because their brother got shot in a home invasion. So it's so that's the thing. Politics to me, honestly, like I've gone through a weird year because I kind of went from I don't care about politics, it's dumb, to oh my god, like politics is really cool, like I'm learning so much, to I'm starting to realize politics is gay and dumb again because it's just values. That's all it is. Like people who are always like, oh, Republicans are so uneducated. I'm like, okay, hold off. Different values, right?
Yeah. And you can talk all you want about statistics about people who are Democratic, who have a higher level of education versus people who are Republican who are not. But at the same time, it's all just comes down about the way you were raised and the way that you versus the decisions you make now and how that makes the person you are.
Because I would say, those more educated Democrats are people who say, we need great healthcare because look at all these other countries that have it, or we need to be pro-choice because look at all these other countries that haven't, look what happened to them. And Republicans are like, I just don't think it's right, and it's a value. So it comes down to I don't think the education matters, because also education is an interpretation.
What do you mean by that, Theo? What could you possibly mean by education is an interpretation?
Okay, I've said a lot of whack.
Yeah, but that's the wackest thing you've said so far.
Let me allow me to defend myself.
Okay, go on. Okay, education is an interpretation. Continue.
Absolutely. What is science at its core?
What do you mean? What's facts?
No. What is science at its core?
The exploration of the world around.
It's not facts at all. Nothing in science is factual.
Theo, what do you think? Think about what you're saying for like 3 seconds before you say it. Think about it again.
Yeah.
Now speak.
Nothing in science is factual.
Let me get really close to the mic and say that again.
Nothing in science is factual. I'm about to make you look like a fool.
How? Okay, you're about to make me look like a fool.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Prove to me one thing. I don't care what it is.
What do you mean?
One thing. Prove it.
Your family loves you.
In science is what I meant.
That's science. That's science.
Okay,
that's sociology.
I was kind of hoping you'd say something like gravity, right? Because that was kind of
also gravity.
Okay.
You gravity.
No,
gravity.
Research shows.
What do you mean? Research shows you
nothing in science is proven. The core element.
If you pick up and drop that cup, Theo, it will fall.
You're right.
I just proved that. Look, I'm going to drop this cup. I'm holding this cup up in the air over the mic. I'm going to drop it now on the ground.
Doesn't matter. You can drop it 1,000,000 times, and it will probably fall every time. But if it doesn't fall once, all of it's out the window. That whole proof thing is done. The core of science is that you hypothesize something and experiment it.
So you're telling me 2 + 2 is not 4 until I do 2 + 2 is 4.
And math is a little different. But even then,
what?
But even then, I'm saying, when you look at, say, what's a great example?
What is a great example, Theo? I'm dying to know what a great example is.
I'm trying to think of something major that was wrong.
Black people being made from apes.
I guess technically, because we're all different discussion. Anyways,
right.
Well, okay. No.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about black people. That's not a discussion.
No. I was talking about all people. Evolution is the core.
Evolution.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I meant like.
Are you telling me you don't believe in evolution?
No, I do believe in evolution.
Brilliant.
I'm saying, okay. Let's talk about.
Okay. Fun facts about science. Story about science. Your point's completely irrelevant and also not true. I had a friend once who had the same viewpoint, almost made the same argument that you had, except they were trying to prove to me that dinosaur bones were not real.
No.
As in, the Bible was the only scientific fact ever, and that dinosaur bones were a trick placed by the devil in order to make us think that dinosaurs are real.
Can you prove it? Can you look at me and prove to me that bone came from a dinosaur. Now, look, I understand that you can't.
What are you talking about, Theo?
Listen.
What are you saying?
Here's the thing. A lot of people think I'm a very smart, scientific, logical guy. But here's the
Who?
thing.
Name one person.
Listen.
One person.
Listen, science.
Thinks you're smart.
I will repeat. Okay. Science at its core is experimentational.
Yes.
Just like physics.
Yes.
Okay. It's experimentational, right? It's, when you do a study on an experiment, right? You're not proving something. All you're saying is that the results have showed that this didn't fail. The results show that this is going to happen. All it takes is one time. Okay, that is the whole. It's like when you're solving a math equation, right? And you're thinking that this function displays the graph, and you're testing it, right? All it takes is one time, and all of it's gone.
Right.
So
that an outlier, Theo.
No. If you have a function of an equation, and you say, "Yep, this matches the graph," if one time it doesn't, it does not match.
Okay. Yeah.
The results. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. That's all of science. That's all science is. Is it's that giant graph of experiments, and you're saying that okay, yeah. The research lines up that says this is good. The research shows that when I drop this glass, it will fall due to gravity.
Yes, this is true.
Yes, it is shown. Nothing in science is proven. It is shown by research. There is a vast difference between those two. That is the point I'm trying to make. I'm not denying, right, that gravity doesn't exist. I'm not denying that my family doesn't love me. All I'm saying is that
I'm not denying that either.
all I'm saying is that there is a vast distinction between something being proven and the research showing.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
So, back to the point of education is
interpretation. Yes, that's the whole point of this conversation.
Yeah. So, your education in science is your interpretation of laws of physics, your interpretation of chemical laws, because research has shown. That's why science is gay and dumb. But anyways, no. All I'm saying.
Tidbit from Theo right there.
Okay, take history for example. Okay, history.
Are you saying the Holocaust didn't happen, Theo?
No,
Theo. How could you say that on the podcast?
No. But
Theo.
So you look at history, right? You have all of these history books, everything. Your opinion and education on history is based off your interpretation of that.
Yeah.
Your history is not black and white. History is gray. History is looking at, the letters and farewell addresses of presidents and saying, I think this is what they meant by that.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Interpretation. Education is not, in English, you're reading a book and you are interpreting what the author meant.
Interpreting.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But no, I get what you're saying from that point.
I'm saying that in the sense that, I can tell you that Trump launched the airstrike against the Iranian military official.
Yes.
I have told you that is true.
Yes.
Okay? It is up to your interpretation on what you gain from that. That is your education. That is your beliefs.
Right, but you also read him. Like you can, there is actual physical proof that he signed an executive order asking for those missiles to be launched.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's your interpretation whether you think it's a good or a bad thing.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's the same thing with science. You're interpreting whether these results are true or not, or whether these results are a good or a bad thing. If it proves or disproves your hypothesis.
Yeah. I mean, yes, yeah.
So look,
I'm not sure why this is proving your point or disproving your point.
I'm trying. I don't know, what was the original point? Education, but before that,
science is dumb.
No, before that, because I said,
dude, I don't know, it was like 20 minutes ago.
Oh no. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, modern education isn't. Because look, there are things that I can solve 2 + 2, but modern education is here's this data, do what you want with it.
Interpret it, yeah. And I feel like that's power.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing, you
speaking of school, because we have.
Do you want me to tell a story?
Limited time. This is the segue.
Okay.
Tell me your wackiest school story, Theo.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know.
I would know if you want to.
I would need a topic.
Oh.
I would, because there are so many wacky. I would need a topic.
Well, I know you. There's plenty of shenanigans that you participated in or have done with throughout all years in high school. Let's see. Let's say first 2 years of high school. Let's say freshman through sophomore.
Wackiest story?
Wackiest story.
Relating to what, though?
School.
No, I know school, but like...
You're in school right now, Theo. It shouldn't be that hard for you.
Oh, dear. This is kind of hard to remember. Oh, Christ.
I think I can remember mine, maybe.
Wackiest? There's so many things that have happened to me. I start to forget them.
That was one of them. The first time you did something.
I what?
The first time something has happened to you. A first time experience.
I don't know if I want to share my first time.
Shut up. It's a PG podcast.
Right, my bad.
Damn it.
Oh, I did forget about that part. Okay, I can tell you a story of something I did this year.
Okay, lay it on me.
We were in econ. Mr. Shaw wanted to show us this video.
Okay.
I was like, man, today's not the day. He goes, I got to go get the video flash drive from Mrs. Couch.
Okay.
I walked over to his unlocked laptop. Being a cybersecurity student, I did what I did best. And I put up a fake update screen. So it said Windows 10 updating, right, with the percentage in the circle, and it's counting up. He gets back and he goes, what? Right? Oh, no, Miss Couch walks in the room. And she goes, she has a flash drive. She goes, oh, it's updating. Leaves the room, goes, gets Mr. Shaw. I close the update. Get rid of it. He comes back. He's like, it's not updating. It's like, what is going on? And I had a debacle for a little bit. Ended up not watching the video.
Legendary.
Yep. Other than I don't know. There's so many things.
Well, what's something a little bit more memorable though? What was your first date like?
Okay, thank you. That is so much better. My first date. We're gonna say in Washington, D.C.
Okay, Washington, D.C.
Eighth grade trip.
Eighth grade trip.
Yeah, I had met this girl on the trip. Her name was, what was her name? I don't know. We'll call her Judy. What's her name? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Judy. So Judy was like, so we had flown in on a Sunday and we were leaving a Thursday, and it's Monday and we're all in kind of like a mall food court kind of area.
Yeah.
And she comes up to me, Judy, and she's like, oh, hey. And I'm like, hey. And we just started saying hi. Big group of people. She was friends with another one of my friends. Anyways, I was going to go buy a big bag of Jolly Ranchers from a candy store because my buddies and I were playing poker in our hotel room tonight.
Valid.
So
as one does.
I was like, I'm going to go buy some Jolly Ranchers. Anyone want to come with me? She was like, oh, yeah, I will. And I was just like, okay. And me, I was not used to this, right? I was not a very attractive guy when I was younger. I would say I have cleaned up quite a bit, but back then I was not. I was not as jacked as I am. I was not as cute. My teeth weren't straight. My hair wasn't neat. My fashion was all over the place. I wore gym shorts and like Nike t-shirts. All right, look. I was just your average 8th grade ugly. Anyways, so we're like walking around. I had a lot of good conversations. Don't ask me what we were talking about. Can't remember. Don't care. Get these Jolly Ranchers, right? We're walking back. I get her phone number. She gets mine. That night, texting her. She's like, no. I was like, you want to be like boyfriend, girlfriend? She's like, yeah, sure with you. I'd love to, right? Now we're dating. All right.
Impressive.
Then I'm kind of counting this whole trip as a first date because we had like
it's young love. It's all first.
Yeah.
Date.
So
everything's a first.
Because I mean, basically the big group hung out the entire time. It was like 1 4-day date. We had drove to Philly and back on a bus. She had fallen asleep on my shoulder the whole time.
Oh, cute.
Oh God, that was top.
Do you have any older sisters, Theo?
No. Well, so then last day, my buddy Dustin Hagler is like, dude, you gotta kiss her. This is it, dude. This would be the perfect first kiss.
The moment.
Like you're in Washington, D.C. It's gonna make this the most memorable trip of your life. And I was like, okay, how do I do it? How do I kiss somebody? So I'm practicing on a pillow, practicing my hand, and then I'm like, okay, I got that bit down. Now, how do I get there? How do I get to that moment?
Theo.
And looking back on it, what I did was probably not the most consensual thing in my life, and I understand this now. But listen, it's not that bad. God, God, this makes me sound like a douche. Okay, so
Just go on. Just go on.
So
It happened in 8th
Dustin's
grade.
like,
We were all douches.
yeah. So Dustin was like, okay, here's the plan. We were on the 2nd floor. The girls were on the 4th floor, or maybe we were on the 3rd. Anyways, we would basically take the elevator up to them, and we'd pick them up because big group, right, every morning, and then we'd ride the elevator all the way down. Dustin was like, I have a plan.
On the elevator.
No. He was like, I'm gonna block off the elevator. He was like, I'm a big guy. I'm gonna stand in the front. I'm gonna make it look like there's no room, and you're gonna say, oh, let's just take the stairs, right? You'll kind of walk behind. You'll lag behind. And I was like, okay. He goes, you just take her down the lobby. That gives you plenty of time to do it. Okay. I'm like, perfect. This is gonna work out brilliantly. Start going to the elevator. We're lagging behind. Dustin's in the front. And I'm not even kidding, standing like he is like all flexed up, like tense, like he's ready to just block the way. And I looked at her and I said, there's not any room. And I didn't even let her look at it. I just kind of turned her away. I said, well, I'll just take the stairs. It'll be faster. And she's like, okay, whatever, that's fine. So we start taking the stairs. What I didn't realize is that there were 3 hidden floors.
Oh.
So they had 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then the 3 basement floors.
Yeah. So then there was storage, and then there was like lower level 1, and then like
so you think you're just gonna ride this thing down all the way down and then get off, as opposed to just going down the 2 floors?
No. So I thought I was just walking down 4 flights of stairs.
Okay.
It was like 8 flights of stairs. So we're walking down, and it's cold as hell in this staircase. We're like shivering. We get to the door to the lobby, and I'm like, this is it. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, okay. I was like, I've prepared for this. This is the moment. And she like kind of reaches for the door, and I like kind of like tug on her hand a little bit, like towards me, and I kind of like look at her, and I like push the door closed, which was, anyways. And then I like looked at her and I said, can I kiss you? And she was like, I'm scared.
Theo.
But no, so just because like it was like, and she was just like, it's my first kiss, I'm not really sure. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, I don't know what I'm doing either. And then we kissed.
That was your first date. You never spoken to her since, huh?
No, we dated for like a month after, went on a couple of dates after that, and then eventually ended things. But then, so we walk into the lobby, and of course everybody else has eaten breakfast, and we kind of walk in behind everyone, right? Holding hands, and Dustin looks over at me, and he's kind of like you could see like from across the way, he's like up out of his chair, like looking at me wide-eyed, and I just gave him a double thumbs up, and he was like, and the entire table of guys is like, let's go, like throwing their arms into the air, like cheering and all this stuff, and all the girls are like, what the hell? Like, are you guys serious? And then eventually one of my friends was like, that probably wasn't the most consensual thing in the world, and I was like, I understand, but who cares?
It's young love.
It was young. It wasn't a proud moment, but ultimately,
hey man, it happened.
It's fine. It was a peck on the lips.
Dude,
I thought I was being romantic. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what romance was, but I thought like a little tug of the wrist and like arm on the door, like leg kicked back, like sexy face was like a hot thing.
Theo,
guess not.
There's very rapey vibes from all of those movies in the 80s that have that as the main character.
I guess I just didn't pick it up.
I guess not. No.
Hey, I've learned now, so
that's good. That's very positive.
Yes.
I think my first date, I had a girlfriend before I started dating.
Okay.
Because I had no way of getting around when I started dating someone.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right, so I was like, hey, we're dating now. And she was like, actually, it was the opposite way. I have a very outgoing personality, generally. I talk plenty, far too much, actually. But when it comes to, like, relationships, I'm never the one to initiate.
Really?
I have never once been the one to initiate.
I'm always the one who initiates.
Really?
Yeah.
Both times?
Every time. Both times.
What do you mean? This person you're with now, you had twice. That's a conversation that you and I are having personally.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, generally I am. Yeah.
Yeah, you're dating Kaylee now, and you dated Kaylee twice, and this is the second time you initiated both times?
I know, I'm trying to think of how it started the first time. I guess technically she was the one who made it official, but I was the one who reached out to her. I had deleted her phone number from my contacts and then DM'd her on Instagram to ask for it. Because how do you text somebody? I've never understood what's the first text. So for me,
my
I was
first text to my girlfriend, I think, when we first started dating, I was like, "Hey gamer, what's going on?"
See, for me, it's like I don't even know how to start that. So usually, if I first text people, it's like after a cool date, and I'm like, "Hey, like that was fun. Like, oh, that movie was like crazy,
Makes
right?"
sense.
Or in the sense of I like DM you and I say like, what's your number or your Snapchat? So then it's a flirty right off the get go, and then you can like do all the small talk stuff and whatever you're talking in. So that's I guess so that was what I did, and it worked.
I guess my first date was I think a lunch date where I walked to Menchie's.
Okay.
With this girl. She was in my English class freshman year. This is when this initially happened.
Okay.
In LDS culture, it is unacceptable to date before you're 16.
Okay. So for you, this was like
I was out here, man. I was rebelling against the law, against my country, against my soul.
Okay.
Going on this date, I was sweating so hard. It was in the springtime, and it wasn't that hot, but I was pooling sweat constantly.
Yep.
My crack, my butt crack was moistened. You could have done a slip and slide between my cheeks, buddy.
Fun fact: every time I go to the gym, I have to bring 2 pairs of underwear. Well, sorry, I bring 1 pair.
that is too much information, Theo.
No. There is a sweaty ass cheek pair of underwear in my gym bag over there that I took off over an hour ago.
Neat.
So yeah, I understand your sweaty asshole syndrome.
I was raised by women, Theo. So like I have 2 older sisters and a younger sister and a mom. So and my dad and I have talked about dating like maybe once. But the thing is, so I'm not super like self-conscious about talking to girls because all I've been is berated by girls my entire life.
Yeah.
It's just that this sudden new context, I was terrified.
I understand that.
I spoke maybe 8 words.
Oh, did you let her do the talking?
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect then. Ah, hey, nice job.
It was less of a. Yeah, it was. That's what it was. We went and got Menchie's together. I sat there silently, ate my ice cream while shivering and like covered in sweat, and then we went back to class.
I'm the kind of guy who, when I go on a date, I do all the talking and I don't eat. And then like after she's done, she's like ready to go, and I look down at my food and I'm like, oh shit, and then I like eat.
I am a ravenous monster. I can't stop eating. If you and I were ever on a date, Theo, I wouldn't speak to you. I'd say, oh, this is great. Hey, can I get this food? Oh, this is wonderful. And then I would devour my food without looking up for 20 minutes. And look
really?
At you. Yeah.
No, I'm the kind of guy, I will have a conversation with you, and then I'll be like, oh, that's right, that's why we're here. And I'll like eat bites like as I go.
Oh no,
but
dude,
I am the talker.
I have gotten much better upon my dating life about talking and eating not at the same time, but like being able to hold a conversation and eat food.
Sure.
But in my early years, in my early dates, I would just shovel in food as fast as possible. I am such a messy eater. Anyways, I'm quite sure I soiled myself in ice cream that day.
What was your best date ever? Well, actually, let's switch topics completely. What is
best date's not a bad question.
It's not, but we should get off the topic of dating.
Okay,
just to switch things up.
Sure thing.
What's a great memory? You know what? No. What is
your favorite food associated to your childhood? What's your comfort food, Theo?
PB&J's.
Really?
Oh, I eat one every night.
Really? That's so sick.
So it was part of the bulking culture that I aspirated.
Yeah.
Where I was getting a chunk on, right?
For swimming.
Yeah.
And also for lifting and for everything else.
Currently doing it again right now. I have a PB&J before I go to bed every night. I cannot sleep with an empty stomach. Impossible. I know there are some people who are like, if I eat 3 hours before I go to bed, I'm not going to bed.
Oh no, I eat while I'm sleeping. Dude, I wake up in the middle of the night to go get like a bag of shredded cheese.
Oh sure, yeah. So for me, it's wheat bread, raspberry jam, Jif peanut butter creamy, smother that guy together and PB&J's. Ate them as a kid, ate them now, never get old. Solid best sandwich.
My mother does not let me eat Jif peanut butter.
Really?
She believes it is the Satan spawn. We have the natural stuff you have to like. It has the oil sitting on top, and you gotta like.
Is it like Samuel's natural?
Yeah.
My dad uses that stuff. That stuff's good.
Stuff's good, but like I just want to be able to crack it open and get some creamy stuff in my tongue.
Yeah, understandable.
Anyways,
I cannot eat peanut butter alone. I gotta eat it.
My comfort food for sure is either Life cinnamon cereal.
Solid choice.
Or a ham and cheese sandwich with Doritos on it. My most vivid childhood memory is at a pool. It's I can know exactly where I could go to this pool tomorrow. I could drive there from here. It is on a summer day in the middle of August. The cicadas are blaring. It's about 5:30 o'clock in the evening. I've been swimming for 3.5 hours with a whole bunch of my friends.
Okay.
I get out of the pool. I'm ripping wet. I've been laughing constantly. My sides are heaving from the amount of swimming I've been doing. I sit down. I'm aching. It's a buffet style food sitting in front of us because it's someone's birthday party. Can't remember. It wasn't mine.
Don't care.
Don't care. The thing I make is I get this one of those plastic styrofoam cups. Plates. Slap 2 slices of white bread. Slap on 3 ham, 2 Swiss, and like a handful of Doritos and put that on there and eat it. Chlorine's still in my eyes. Chlorine's still in my everything. Take a bite out of it. Nothing has ever tasted more good in my entire life.
Okay.
It hits different after you've done swimming, man. It hits so good. And that is my most vivid a memory associated with food as a child.
Okay.
PB&J's though, that's good, man.
Yeah,
it's consistently good.
I kind of want to go try a ham and cheese and Dorito sandwich now.
It has not aged well unless you put a little bit of mayonnaise on the side, but not on the side with the chips. You got to put it on a different side.
Oh, okay. The side of ham.
These are things I've learned. I'm going to rehash the old memory.
No, good to know. Yeah, PB&J's is solid. Ham, cheese, Dorito, mayo, solid. Sandwiches are good, man.
Sandwiches are underrated food, man. They're so good.
Opinions on sandwich and sub places. Rank them top 3.
I got this easy.
Top 3.
I've been talking about this all day, actually.
Okay.
Number 1 for me. Number 1. Always be number 1. Firehouse subs.
Really?
It's so
That
good.
is astonishing to me.
It's so good.
Okay, all right.
It's so good. There's a little bit of, you can get the ham and barbecue sauce hickory one that's like just kind of like a little bit of slabs of beef. With so a little bit of honey drizzle and some barbecue sauce and cheese. Slaps. The best meal I've ever had in my entire life. I get that once a week, and it is amazing.
We gotta go to Firehouse.
We gotta go to Firehouse.
Anyways, I've never loved Firehouse. It's never been a first pick for me. But I will say this: I always leave there satisfied. What's number 2?
Potbellies.
Oh my god!
Potbellies is so good.
Ruan is across the street from Potbelly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god, so good, so good.
We once got sidetracked in Chicago, right? Our car blew up basically in Chicago. This is a different story. We were there stuck for maybe 8 hours getting a new car or getting our car fixed up. We ate at Potbellies twice during that time.
Oh, delicious. Amazing food.
And there was cracks. There was crack addicts in the building, and it was terrible. It smelled like pee. I saw a cockroach lying on the floor.
Okay.
Best sandwich I've ever had in my entire life.
Incredible.
Potbellies transcends time.
Yes.
It's so good.
Incredible.
It's the best kind of sandwich.
Amazing.
But it has to come second just because there's not really a good place that's not downtown, because the only Potbellies we have in Des Moines is downtown.
Jordan Creek.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Best place, Jimmy John's.
Man. Oh, I was afraid you would say
Subway
that.
Subway is number 4 or 5.
Really?
Subway, it cannot top it, man.
Really?
I like Jimmy John's.
I think Jimmy John's is the worst sandwich place.
Oh, do tell. How come? Why don't you like it?
Lame.
Really?
Yeah. Everything's the same. Mayo, lettuce, tomato, some sort of
That's
meat.
all I need, man. Tomato and
I mean, look,
meat.
it's nice. The bread's decent. Cookies are great.
Cookies are wonderful.
Chips are mediocre.
Right, but also Subway is associated with the pedophile, you know?
Yeah, but Subway's delicious. I don't understand how you can't like Subway. You made the sandwich yourself.
Yeah.
Now, that is a meme, stolen joke. Anyways. But Subway for me, a barbecue chicken sandwich from Subway fucking hits. But Potbelly's number 1, Subway's number 2, Jimmy John's is number 3.
Absolutely. We got to go to Firehouse Subs, though.
I agree. Let's go to Firehouse. You know what? I would put Firehouses above Jimmy John's. I genuinely think Jimmy John's is the worst sandwich place I've ever been to.
Okay.
Over Jersey Mike's. I've been to Jersey Mike's. And
I've never been to Jersey Mike's.
It sucked. Better than Jimmy John's.
We got to go eat. I'm hungry. Well, this has been
pleasure.
This has been Idiots Incorporated with Theo Oggy.
With Isaac Helton.
Attaboy. No, go listen to all of Theo's short episodes. Where can they find you?
Oh, they're all gone.
They're all gone?
Oh, yeah. I deleted them like a year ago. Oh. That's okay. Maybe I'll reboot it. Maybe this will be the inspiration that kicks me back in.
Go follow Theo on Instagram. Go follow Theo on Twitter. His links will be in the bio down below.
Oh, I definitely will not share my Twitter in public, but that's okay.
I will show
But my Instagram 100%.
Never mind. I will put a whole bunch of Morse code in the in the description. What this contains Theo Oggy's full name and address. Go send him a letter.
Look, maybe I won't start a podcast. Maybe I'll just be the guest star.
Yeah, man, I'll have you on. This could be a recurring bit.
Maybe I could be like the Bill Burr.
Oh,
I'm just a guest star everywhere. I don't have my own show.
The name pending. Theo reviews the apocalypse.
Yeah. Look, I have some radical ideas sometimes, but I think they're based.
Yeah, sure. This will be a lot of discussions. I'll have to speak you on the all science is dumb and gay.
No. I actually am a pretty firm believer in a lot of science. Right. I definitely think some things are really dumb and gay.
Okay, well, this is...
but okay, anyway.
This has been Name Pending.
Please, if you listen to all of it, let us know. Because Talk
to me.
Yeah, I want to find... There's got to be one person who made it here.
Ellie Kaufman
would listen to the whole thing.
Ellie, if you're listening, I love you.
Hello.
Best.
Yep. Just let us know, please, because if you want to DM me on Instagram and let me know you listen to the whole thing, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I want to know. Because, and look, I'm gonna get a lot of heat for some of the things I said.
Also, when you comment, tell us exactly how much you hate Theo for talking on the podcast. And what you were doing. Were you doing homework? Were you sleeping? Did you fall asleep to Theo's voice again?
Because, frankly, I feel honored.
Anyways,
I have a soothing fatherly voice.
This has been Name Pending. Thank you so much.